He's the president of UFC's Dana White, and depending on what internet story you read, like you must wake up in the morning and go to the internet and think, okay, what are they making up?
I never go to the internet when I wake up in the morning.
You don't?
No, that's not how you want to start your day.
Because you're in the news every day.
I ignore 100% of that stuff.
So you don't do Twitter?
Oh yeah, no, I'm on social media. Yeah, I'll send stuff out. I don't necessarily read through it a lot. Sometimes I will. I got to be in the mood, and I'll start ripping through there. But you better be ready to roll when you rip through social media.
Listen, most people, their strength is their weakness. Your strength is you're a maverick. You're strong. You're aggressive. You're willful.
Thank you.
Now everybody's saying, you know, the thing with the Dana White, he's strong, he's willful, he's aggressive. Now people are saying, oh, do you find yourself in a unique position that everybody loved what you were? And now people are like, he's anti-boxer. He's too strong. Why you're Dana White is why now some of your critics are saying they don't like Dana White.
Wow, they've been saying that for years. I mean, when this thing first started, they were like, can this thing really be successful with Dana White? I mean, they always say that. Whenever we do, they do stories on me or whatever it was. Can this thing be successful? He doesn't act like a normal commissioner of a sport would, but this isn't a normal sport. This is fighting. Completely different. This is fighting,
and it's global. I mean, when I first met you, you were in Brazil all the time.
Right? Yeah. I mean, our plan, everything that we said we would do over the last 16 years, we've pretty much done. We really have done everything that we said we would do. Taking this thing international, getting a major television deal. And the list goes on and on. I mean, we really have, and getting it sanctioned everywhere around the world.
Okay, let's get to the Conor McGregor stuff. Everybody wants to know. Have you talked to him recently?
Yeah, we went to dinner here in LA a few weeks ago. Had a great meeting. He's obsessed with this Nate Diaz fight. I don't know if I can get it done. I've been working on it.
Diaz wants too much money.
It's just madness. It's been tough. It's been a tough go through. So we're looking at another fight for Conor right now. And we'll see how this thing comes together. But okay. Conor is just so obsessed with Diaz at 170. It's been crazy.
Okay, so Diaz isn't the name, but Diaz beat McGregor. Do you find it difficult to be the, quote, commissioner? And I don't know. I guess you're a commissioner. You're commissioner, promoter, maverick, whatever, business guy. But Diaz beats McGregor, but McGregor's the bigger draw. How do you divvy up the money on that?
Well, the reality is this. Since that Conor McGregor fight, obviously, when you win a fight of that magnitude, it has definitely rubbed off on Nate. Nate is, people do want to see Nate fight. People do want to see this fight again. And I'm one of those guys that I want to make the fight that the people want to see. And I believe people do want to see this fight. But people want to see Conor McGregor fight Frankie Edgar or Jose Aldo again too. I'm sure they'd want to see him fight Rafael dos Anjos at 155 for that title. So there's a lot of fights out there for Conor. God, if we can't get this Nate fight done.
God, I'm watching this Nate McGregor fight.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I mean,
the video is unbelievable.
The thing about this thing is we put this thing together last minute, and it's like when you think of all the anticipation for the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, and then, you didn't get what you paid for when you bought that fight. You got every penny's worth out of McGregor and Diaz.
Now, sometimes, Dana, the downside to dealing with stars is they move the planets. Like if you were the PGA commissioner and you had Tiger Woods, sometimes Tiger Woods almost becomes bigger than the sport. So now you get the Mayweather stuff and the Conor stuff, and it's great for your business. Everybody's talking about UFC. You were on the front page of the New York Times. Okay, so everything's great.
Right. But
it's getting big, and you got Les Moonves and Showtime and CBS and Dana and McGregor, and everybody's got their own camp. And I'm not sure. Do you reel it in? Do you like it? Like, where does that stand? Yeah,
that's why I don't listen to any of that stuff. I don't read any of that stuff. People will hit me up and say, "Did you see Floyd just posted a poster of them squared off, said they're fighting in September, and this and that." I'm like, listen, I don't care what Floyd says. There's only one way this fight's happening, is through me. Floyd's got to call me. Floyd and I haven't talked. I saw Floyd. The last time I saw Floyd was at the Celtics-Laker game, Kobe's last game against the Celtics. I was there. He was there. We talked. Said what's up and whatever, but we didn't talk about fighting Conor McGregor.
But it should be noted, Dana, you're a businessman, okay? If there's a big pool of money out there, everybody'd make it. You'd make it, Fertitta's make it, Conor make it.
Yep.
So isn't it really about, and for the record, as a promoter, I grew up with Evel Knievel. It's an event. To me, McGregor, I don't care. I'm not going to be, you're not a You love boxing, I think, before UFC. You were a boxing guy, the sweet science. But in the end, what would be wrong with just having an event if you can figure out the dollars?
Here's the reality. Haven't talked to Floyd Mayweather once. If you look at how long and how hard it took to get the Pacquiao fight done, that's the same sport. Now we're going to put two different sports together.
Mayweather's people. They're just difficult. Mayweather's people are difficult.
Hey, listen, Floyd has done a fantastic job of promoting himself. When Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd, nobody really cared. Then he became Money Mayweather. And try to watch 24/7 or one of those type of shows without Floyd in it. It's painful. Floyd's good, man. Floyd knows how to sell. Floyd's a showman. He goes out and does extravagant, crazy things when he's filming. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. So, I don't know what his angle is on this thing with Conor McGregor, but he's not fighting Conor McGregor without calling me. It's not going to happen.
All right, so we have that situation. You have a headlining fight. I'm going to be there. Cruz Faber's the one I really want to watch because they almost got into a fight on my couch. This is at the Forum. So this is the UFC 199 card. It's at the Forum. That is June. That's Saturday, June 4th. So you have two headlining fights. You got that and you have the Cruz fight. And conflict is part of it. So let's segue from that Saturday night. You've got Faber and Cruz. That's conflict. Your business is a conflict business.
Right.
Now, I just met Ronda Rousey with you about 6 weeks ago in San Francisco. I'm getting people this morning that there's a story out. There's a knee injury. People want to see Rousey fight. What do we know today?
Yeah, she just had her knee scoped. She didn't have surgery. She had a scope. They went in there and cleaned some stuff out. It was very successful. She feels great. She's training. Her head's in the right place. I don't know when she's going to fight again. I'm hoping, by the end of the year, but it could be December. It could be January 1st. I don't know. Ronda's going to make that decision when she's ready.
December, January-ish?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for.
When, this whole thing, Dana White, UFC president, joining us, the thing about this sport is that, and you and I have talked about this privately, is I think the availability now to fight in New Your is... It's like not having baseball in New York and the Yankees arrive. This is a complete game changer. Your your geographical strength to this point, could I argue, has been L.A. and Vegas, mostly West Coast based, and the ESPNs of the world were reluctant. Who are those guys out there? Does New York change the strategy for your sport?
It does. Going into New York, obviously. Listen, L.A. and Vegas are great. L.A. is a great city. Vegas is the fight capital of the world. New York is the media capital of the world. When you roll into New York, it's big. It's a big deal. Not only New York, but Madison Square Garden.
Will Vegas and Los Angeles feel that, you forget about us now? Because you're going to sit down with the Forum and the Staples, and you're going to sit down with MGM. And those have been your babies. And now you're going to deal with Madison Square Garden. Is this going to be a difficult situation for you and your tenants and your business partners? Here comes New York into the fray. Will other family members feel slighted?
Well, I think that what's going to happen is once we initially go into New York, we're not just going to do the city and do MSG. We're going to go up into Syracuse and Buffalo and some of these towns up there. Especially when you get up to Buffalo. We haven't been in Toronto in a long time. So when we do Buffalo, it's right on the border. I'm sure a lot of people are going to come down from Canada. And as we cruise around New York the first year, other cities are going to feel it. I don't think Vegas is going to feel it because, Vegas is still the spot for fights. There's a reason that everybody does the big fights in Vegas. You have the arena right there inside the hotel. You can stay there. You can eat there. You can gamble. It's just... Fights in Vegas are a big deal.
We had two guys on yesterday, comedian actor Brian Callen and former fighter Brendan Schaub. And Schaub said he respected you, but he said what some fighters do. So do we have the tape? I want to play this tape from yesterday. They were actually very funny. They've got a iTunes podcast that's actually #1 right now over Game of Thrones. It's a UFC star, which again is actually good for business, and a comedian. They said this yesterday on the show.
Okay.
The UFC was great to me. I have no qualms with
Now, how
UFC.
do you get along with Dana White today?
We don't see eye to eye.
Okay.
I respect the guy. People think I hate him. I don't hate him. He has a tough job, but I'm coming from a fighter's viewpoint. I feel like, he's the warden. It was Shawshank Redemption. I Andy Dufresne myself out of that pile, and then this is my Morgan Freeman. So we're in Mexico right now, baby. We're in Mexico. So, but I wish them the best, and I still watch every UFC and I support him. And he has a tough job, man.
Okay, so Roger Goodell has faced some of this. Roger Goodell's evil. does it wear on you? You're a human a little bit, that now you're having to be combative with sometimes fighters because you're the negotiator in this. You don't have you're negotiating this. You're taking money and giving money. Does it bother you at all?
Not even a little bit. You know, it's when you're the boss or you're the warden, to his Andy Dufresne, you're never going to be the most popular guy. You're going to make decisions. When the decision isn't yes, people aren't happy, you know? And when he says we haven't seen eye to eye, I've talked to him like maybe 2 times in his whole career. So I don't know what we don't see eye to eye on. Maybe a lot of the ways that we run the business or something. But, you know, we've done a pretty good job. Let me tell you what's happened. And when we bought this company back in 2001, it was bankrupt. Sport was... These guys, it lost so much money. You know, the guys, the early pioneers like the Chuck Liddells and the Matt Hugheses and these type of guys, they did this because they loved it, you know, and they were passionate about mixed martial arts. Then when we came in and we bought it, we turned it into a sport and built it into a global sports phenomenon.
It's a 600
Fighter
million,
pay
yeah.
has gone like this. The problem with professional fighting is the guys who are really good and stand out make millions of dollars. But guys, these other guys feel like, well, why didn't I make millions of dollars? The answer is you weren't good enough. You weren't good enough, and not enough people cared while you were fighting, you know? So you're going to hear guys who didn't necessarily make it. And
Nate Diaz and you, because this McGregor-Nate Diaz thing, it's going to be big. It would be, I don't even know the numbers. It would be a massive pay-per-view sell. So I heard you guys went to dinner and you walked out of it or had a meeting. Like you just said, Nate Diaz, you're out of your gourd. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, no, that was true.
Does he want more money than Conor?
It wasn't necessarily as much Nate Diaz as it was, you know, the management. But yeah, I did. And the problem is, what drives me crazy is when you have a contract. Everybody sits down at one point and we do a deal. Everybody's happy, you shake hands, you hug, and then we move on to the next fight, and everybody wants to blow up the deal. And obviously, listen, for that last Conor-Nate fight, Nate Diaz made millions and millions of dollars, you know? And
if there was
he stands to make even bigger money.
Let me pose a hypothetical. If there was, I'm just going to put the number at $25 million.
Yep.
If there was $25 million available to Diaz and McGregor, that's the available pot you have, you believe, you and the Fertittas believe is you're going to make. Right. Okay. And Diaz says I should get 15 because I beat him, and Conor says I should get 20 because I'm a star. I mean, that's kind of the game you play.
Well, this is where you get into that. Yeah, you get into.
So Diaz is like, hey, I'm the better fighter. But as a commissioner, do you reward the fighter or the commerce? Because Conor's better commerce.
Yeah, no. What you try to do in a deal like this is you try to be as fair as you can be. And obviously, the problem is that we have a deal. We already have a deal. He has a contract.
And Conor's supposed to make more.
Listen, Conor has a deal. It's not like we went in and renegotiated. Conor McGregor, and this was a big myth coming out of that fight. Conor McGregor has never, ever, not only does he step up and take big fights on last minute, moved up however many pounds to fight Nate, and was willing to fight anybody. That's why people love Conor, because Conor will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. He has never come back and tried to renegotiate a contract, ever. So that was a big myth that he was doing that. Nate, we signed a new deal going into that fight. Then we had he signed the contract for UFC 200.
And now he wants to.
And now, right. So then Conor doesn't show up for 200, and now Nate's trying to blow up the deal. And it's frustrating.
Don't you ever?
But listen, that's the business we're in. This is what we do. You know, everybody's not going to be happy all the time. You know, it's part of the deal. So now our job is, Lorenzo and I have to sit down and try to figure out how to make this deal work. And we've been going back and forth and trying to make this fight happen. But the problem is timing. Now we're running out of time because I've already got, this fight's supposed to be, I think, August 20th or something like that. I've already got September 20th done. I got that card made. It's done. And now we're moving on to the next one. So we're going to get to a point here where we're going to run out of time. And they're just not going to be able to make the fight. So Conor's either going to have to pick a new opponent that he would like to fight or lose that date.
All right, Dana White this Saturday at the Forum. I'll be there. Pay-per-view, Inglewood, Rockhold Bisping 2, Dominic Cruz-Faber 3. Those guys are intense. It's great seeing you. We got to take a break. It's The Herd.